What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode. Today I am working on another Dodge Charger. This is one of three that I've had. This is a 2007 Dodge Charger RT all-wheel drive. This car was hit in the front. I got rid of the old bumper already. I just ripped it off and you can see the crash bar was pushed in, but the frame rails are straight. So I had picked up a 2008 Dodge Charger with a track package. I believe it's called, I think it's just called track package. Basically, it's a Daytona, and it has the all blacked out. There's the bumper cover from it with the red badging for RT. I already swapped out the rear trunk for the RT, and a lot of people were, including myself, didn't know that the all-wheel drive model came with a Hemi. And as you can see, this one does have the Hemi. So today I'm going to be cutting off the whole I'll be cutting off the crash bar. I got the other one from the parts car that I had, the 2008, right here. And I'm also going to be replacing the radiator core support. The radiator core support didn't get damaged, but what did get damaged was the supports for the bumper cover here. So I ripped those off already. They were breaking off. So I have a whole nother core support from the other one already right there. I'll also be replacing these ugly police package looking wheels with the Daytona style wheels right here. So first of all, we'll be cutting off the crash bar, and I'm going to be pulling out the radiator, AC dryer, transmission cooler, all that stuff. But before I get there, I have to actually remove this lower air dam. It's bolted up and I can't get to the drains for the radiator without pulling that thing out of the way. So I'm going to clear that out of the way and put that back on last. So I'll pull that off. I'll start draining the radiator out. I've already unhooked the AC lines. You can see they were not charged because the crash bar went right into the dryer, and obviously probably sprayed out then. I have the entire core support and the radiator, dryer, and transmission cooler from the parts car that I'll be replacing with this one. This one has new hoses in it, so I'll be reusing these hoses because these actually had better hoses than the parts car. And all right, let's get started. All right, so I'm up under the car, and you can see some of the screws are already removed from the air dam. This air dam splits back here, and there's another piece back there. So I think I dropped a 10mm bolt in here somewhere, so I'm actually excited to take this thing off. All right, so I've drained the radiator out, got the catch bucket underneath. I'm getting ready to disconnect the power steering coolant lines and the transmission coolant line, so I have an oil catch cut bucket there also. But I'm actually going to cut the welds on this crash bar real quick. Alright, so I've been cutting away. I was able to cut open this hole and got this last screw out. As you can see, it's right here. So all four are off. I also cut the weld across top here and then underneath. Now, this side, the worst side, I've been cutting away. Got 3 of the 4 bolts off. So I'm just cutting away to access this last one, which is right there. I'm going to cut that, and then I'll cut these welds off, and this bumper should come off. All right, so we got the crash bar all the way off. This side looks good. Maybe I might tweak this in a little bit. Tweak it out just a little bit and cut these weld tabs off. This one here, frame's perfectly fine. It's just the bumper brackets that are twisted. I'll heat those up and pull them back out once I get the washer fluid tank off, which I have a replacement for from the parts car. And this is almost ready to come off. The only thing holding this thing on is the basically upper lower radiator hose, transmission coolant line, and the 2 power steering lines is what I was going to get to next. So what I'm working on right now is these power steering lines. I got these little clips in them. I'll try to see if I can help anybody out by taking these off. So they come with these little plastic caps on them. This one's already back here, and the other one's slid all the way back here somehow. But anyway, pop those off with a flathead screwdriver or like a pry tool. And then you get to these guys here. So these have these little U-clips in them. You push them down with a screwdriver. And you get your pry tool in there with your pick and try to grab at it without breaking these things. There it goes. So that one is off. One there. Let me see where this one's at yet. Get these lines off. This one's off, so I could kind of play with it to get it off. There it is. That one's out. Let that leak down to the catch pan. Get this guy off of here. Come on, baby. Nice and easy. All right. Get that drain down there. What I'm going to work on now is cleaning up all this overspilled antifreeze here. I made a mess the other day, taking the water neck off. I'm going to clean that all up. And then what I'm going to do here on this bumper bracket is I'm going to heat this all up and then reshape this. I'm going to take off the windshield washer tank because it's actually broken, so I'll be able to get that off and go from there. Alright, so I cleaned up the engine area with all the spilled over antifreeze for the most part. Got a little bit on that hose right there. I'll probably finish cleaning real quick. I was able to straighten the brackets out. I'm going to see if the bumper lines up. I'm going to finish cutting these off here, these tabs. If they're not in the way, I'll just leave them and I'll just reuse the area for a welding point for the bumper, or the crash bar rather. So I got the crash bar right here. I cut the old tabs off the car. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this area up and hit this up with some Rust-Oleum primer to prevent any further rusting on these two mounting points, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I got the used radiator core and dryer, transmission cooler all right here in one with the electric fans. All in one. I took this from the parts car, the 2008 Charger RT Trackhawk. And I'm going to head and mount this up right now. So I'm going to set it up in there and have the hoses hold it in place. And it'll be easier for me to put the header panel right over the top of it after. So I'm going to put this in first. Let's go ahead and do that. Pushing. I just realized this one's missing. Tighten up this upper radiator hose. These AC lines back on, if I can. Just so they're out of the way. Come back and snug them up here in a second. Got the power steering clips in, but I also want this lower radiator hose in. Up. I just gotta snap the two rings in for the power steering cooler lines. I could probably put the transmission cooler line here, but let's see if it's in my way for the two power steering ones. see if I can find the other mount, the bushing that goes underneath the radiator core support. Be right back. I found the other bushing from the old one. I'm going to mount that up underneath this radiator. Get it up. Bushing. That's in place. Make sure this one's still good. Yep. All right, let's get these two power steering lines in. I'll tighten up the two AC lines, and then we'll start working on bringing the header panel in and go from there. There it is. That one's in. These little black clips hold it from popping out, basically. So the way these work, there's two little holes in there, and these little ridges pop into those holes. And this is just like a big clip. All right, now I'm gonna work on this top one. Over the ring. Okay. There it is. All right, just got to tighten up these AC lines and then bring the header panel over. There we go. A little bit of love tap, get it in there. Now the bottom one, same deal. All right, we are good here. This will pull back with the header panel. Lines are on, this is out of the way. Let's bring the header panel in. Okay, so we have that. Hold forward. Okay. Just get one in place for now. Let's take this off. In this hood. Alright. So as you can see, we got the header panel on down here. I'm going to mount the two bottom ones, which they already lined up. I'm going to mount those two guys in. All right, so the header panel, or the what's holding the radiator, the core support itself, is all bolted on. Oh, that's right. Feels like it's right. Okay. Air box is on. What I'm looking for now are these guys that actually hold the radiator in place. So these little 10mm bolts coming through here. Pull the radiator out. Line this up into there. See if we can get. So when I first got this car, obviously from the accident, the radiator, the electric fans, everything was pushing up against the pulleys. So the belts were kind of making a little bit of noise and whatnot. So what I'm doing now is obviously there's a lot more room in between. I got to plug those electric fans in. Mount this guy properly. It's actually out here. There we go. That's the right one. Now I'm mounting up the windshield washer fluid container. Just gonna get this hose hooked up first so that it doesn't spill everywhere. Get the other ones to line up. Always feels good to have a car going back together. Next is the crash bar. Okay, leave that side loose. Got it. So I'm gonna line these all up real quick and go from there. I'm just finishing up, mounting up the bumper by hand first. And then I'll tighten them up with impact. Yeah, more. Okay. Turn the battery down. All right. Next thing will be the headlights. And I already plugged in one of the horns, and the ambient temperature sensor needs to be plugged in. But I actually have to repair this horn connector, so I'll do that here separately in a second to connect that. Ambient temperature sensor. So go right underneath here. Come on, dude. All through here. Forgot about you. So. All right. Horns connected. All these fucking wires, clips in like that. Clip. Put one there, one there. Cool. Let's see if I can get some clips for these now. All right, now that I got these little push tabs, retainer clips. Let's see if this one works here. All right, so now that everything's hooked up, I actually messed up earlier calling that skinny cooler right there the transmission cooler. I actually thought it was a transmission cooler, but it's actually the power steering pump cooler. So you can see that the power steering lines come down and then go into the power steering cooler right there. So, excuse me for that earlier. So now that everything's hooked up, I'm gonna grab the two headlights. The headlights I took off the track pack, or the track hawk, whatever you want to call it, the other 08 Charger that we used for parts. It had a set of HID headlights on it. I'm hoping that the harness just plugs right into the stock harness and I can get these headlights mounted up and go from there. So let's grab those headlights. So unfortunately, these aftermarket headlights, I did cut the harness off of the parts car. So you can see I have the harness here to splice it into the factory one down here. Same thing on this one, factory harness, and then all of the aftermarket to splice this in to the stock one. So right now I'm just debating on whether or not to order a set of stock headlights because I don't feel like splicing a bunch of wires. So I'm going to see what I can do some thinking before I move any further. So I got the headlights mounted up hand tight right now, only because I'm debating on just ordering a set of stock headlights off eBay or something at a local scrapyard to get a couple headlights off a stock Charger. I'm not sure I want to splice in those lights just yet. So for now, I'm just going to sit the bumper cover on it and see how it lines up and call it a day. Just going to put a couple screws in it just to hold it in place. Looks pretty good. And I just remembered what the side light was for. It is for the side blinker. I was wondering what that brown and black harness were for, and it was for these guys. Totally forgot about that. That they just go into these. Let's see how the hood closes. I haven't even tightened this hood yet. Let's see. Notches in the middle. How's the fender? Looks okay on this side. It's about even. It's actually about even. How's that? Oh, that looks nice. Very nice. All right, that's it for this episode. The only thing I'm gonna do off episode is debate on whether or not I'm gonna wire up those lights. I like the way they look, so I'm probably gonna be splicing those lights into the harness and finish bolting up the bumper. I can do that off air basically, and I don't have to record that. But the car's back together. I'm gonna just put this other wheel on real quick to see how it looks. I have to mount the other ones, but for now I just want to see the full look, how it actually looks here. Just mocking up for now. We gotta bolt this wheel well up and whatnot, but how's that? Yeah, looks good. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Appreciate it.